Hey everyone, I am so excited to see you again. We're getting so close to being back face to face. I can't wait. This week, right now, let's get the pause button ready and let's talk about this week's Connect question. All right, hopefully you had enough time. For me, I would love to hang out with Abraham Lincoln. Besides the cool top hat and him being pretty tall, he's my favorite president. I'd like to talk to him and see what it's all about. All right, let's take a look and listen to this week's memory verse.
I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die.
Have you ever had a food container that has had food in it for quite some time and you leave it out, forget about it maybe, and then you come back to it? What happens? What happens if you go, yeah. Yeah, it kind of smells bad after a while. You're right. So today during the Big God story, we are going to learn and see how Jesus has power over death. Now, Jesus knew this man. Well, actually, a lot of people knew him. His name was Lazarus. Now, Lazarus was known by many people. He was even called a friend. Now, as Jesus was walking around performing miracles of all kinds, Lazarus, he got sick. Lazarus got sick. He wasn't feeling very well, and Mary and Martha, they sent word to Jesus. They sent word to Jesus and they said, "Lord, Lazarus, he's sick." Jesus told the disciples that this sickness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory that the Son of God may be glorified through it. So, Jesus and his disciples, they stayed where they were for a few days. After 2 days, they sent word again. They said, our friend Lazarus, he is fallen asleep. Now, see, back then, falling asleep, when they said that he had fell asleep, that didn't mean he was taking a nap or it was nighttime and he went to bed. That meant he had died. So Jesus responded to him that Lazarus, he wasn't dead, and Jesus wanted to show them something amazing. So he stayed for a couple more days. Now, when Jesus went there, he saw Mary and Martha. They ran to him, and this is what they said. They said, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Martha probably felt hurt that Jesus hadn't come in time to heal her brother. But God had a different plan. You see, as Jesus walked over, he saw where Lazarus was. Now, the shortest verse in the Bible comes from this part of history. He sees Mary crying. He sees Martha crying. He looks around and sees everybody there crying that Lazarus is dead and now he's been buried in a tomb. So, the shortest verse says Jesus wept. Now, a lot of people think a lot of different things about why he cried, but Jesus wept. He cried. And then he tells them, "Roll the stone away from the opening of the tomb." Wait a minute. Jesus, his disciples, everybody looked at him and said, Lazarus, he's been dead for a few days. He's been in there, and after some time, it's kind of got an odor. It kind of smells. So let's not do that. Jesus says, "Remove the stone." So they remove the stone, and Jesus calls out to Lazarus, "Lazarus, come out." Now, I don't know what you might be thinking, but if I'm outside and the stone is rolled away and they're looking inside and Lazarus is buried in there and we know he's dead, come out, Jesus. He's not gonna, whoa, wait a minute, something's happening. Somebody's coming out. There, it's Lazarus. So Lazarus, he comes out of the tomb. He is raised from the dead, and now he's back walking out towards Mary, walking out towards Jesus, towards Martha. Now, Jesus says, "Unbind him," which means take off the burial cloths that were on him. So they go, they take off the cloths. Lazarus is alive. Jesus did this to show them that he had power over death. Now, when the dead man came out, Lazarus, people rejoiced. They praised God that Lazarus was alive again. They worshiped Jesus. Now, we see that Jesus later, when he is crucified on the cross, he's buried in the tomb. 3 days later, what happens? That's right. He comes back to life, proving once and for all he has the ultimate power over sin, death, and the grave. He is victorious in this because through it all, Jesus is life. And that's our ponder point this week. It is Jesus is life. Say it with me. Jesus is life. Now, I'm so excited that Jesus is life because that is the promise that we have for those who follow him. Even though we may die in our bodies, our spirits, our souls live forever with Jesus. Now, I can't wait to see you next week because next week is Zonk. We're going to take everything that we've learned, everything that we've remembered, and we are going to play a game. You can play it right there in your living room with your family. Zonk. All right, we'll see you next week.